Have you heard of this acronym, Henry? High earner, not yet rich. Apparently, about 60% of millennials who earn at least six figures are still living paycheck to paycheck. Of course, there's plenty of other people in that bucket in other generations, and also plenty of five-figure earners wondering how someone making six figures could still be struggling. Are student loans to blame? How about inflation? Is it simply because there hasn't been enough time for their investments to grow? Today, we're going to dig into it and give you a way to redefine Henry so that Americans of all generations and multiple income levels can stop the struggle bus and jump off into a whole new world.
In a world where chaos seems to reign supreme, where uncertainty lurks around every corner, and financial markets are now more unpredictable than ever, there's one place you can turn to find clarity and control. Welcome to the Wealth Wisdom Financial Podcast.
Hey, I'm Brandon.
And I'm Amanda.
Join us as we dive deep in the world of personal and business finance
to assist you in navigating through the chaos and building the financial future you deserve.
We believe when conventional financial thinking doesn't get you where you want to go,
you need wealth wisdom.
So if you're ready to take control of your financial destiny,
tune in to the Wealth Wisdom Financial Podcast.
Because in a chaotic world, your money shouldn't be.
Subscribe now and never miss an episode.
Now, for our longtime listeners, what you just heard was our new podcast intro. If you're new, welcome to the Improved Show. If you're on YouTube, whether new or longtime viewer, comment and say hi to Ben from our office who did the voiceover. When you call or email us, there's a good chance Ben will be assisting and getting back to you. Now, back to the topic at hand. What's up with people earning six figures and still struggling financially? It's probably a myriad of causes. I think I've got six. $100,000 just doesn't go as far as it once did. There's totally inflation. Many high earners went into a lot of student debt because they thought it would help them get that six-figure job. Is student debt the culprit? Probably both of those, and a mix of marketing and social media causing more and more FOMO, a fear of missing out on keeping up with the amazing lives it seems all of our friends are living, at least according to their social media feeds. Number 4, are the kids to blame? You go through the mix of high costs for childcare, giving them opportunities to learn and grow. That's expensive. On the financial side, banks are making the biggest profits in history because of the spread between the interest they charge on loans, credit cards, mortgages, lines of credit, personal loans, and so forth, and the interest they give on savings accounts, even high-yield savings accounts. Is the problem in the banking system? Probably somewhat. Another culprit could be number 6 here, how we build our net worth in this 21st century compared to 50 to 100 years ago. I got a lot of mixed results when I tried to find data on this, but one thing we can probably say for sure is that more and more people are putting money into their 401ks where they can't touch it until they're 59 and a half years old without penalty. Congress even passed a law a few years ago that allows employers to auto-enroll their employees in the company 401k and start putting a percentage of that employee's pay into the 401k auto-magically. The employee has to be extra proactive to opt out. There's also more and more conventional thinking being spouted that you have to max out your 401k if you ever want to be retired one day. It's just that sort of conventional thinking that pushes responsible high earners into high interest debt when they lose their job, they have some kind of emergency or opportunity. All their funds are locked up in the 401k. Perhaps that's why Secure Act 2.0 allows for these pension-linked emergency savings accounts as part of 401ks. Too bad there's a limit of only $2,500 for contributions per year. Okay, enough of the problem. If you're a high earner living paycheck to paycheck and struggling to get ahead and build wealth, you're probably dealing with a myriad of what we just discussed. How do you break the cycle, get off that struggle bus, and walk into a brighter future? We want to give you 5 things, and of course, I shaped them as a memorable acronym. It's a revision of Henry, high earner, not yet rich. The first H is have a why. You got to know your why, the why you want to be rich, or at least never have to worry about being poor. Make it heart-centered and emotional. Is it about living a life better than you've seen someone you care about live because they never got out of their financial struggles? Is it about being more generous? Is it about spending more time with the people you love? What's your why? What difference would getting rich make for you? And if you're listening to the podcast, I just put rich in air quotes. Why does getting rich matter? Now for the E, easy habit building. A lot of people want to build positive financial habits, but what if they were easy? What if it was as simple as a 1% shift of your income to liquidity, or 1% more to liquidity, money that you have access to do the things that you want or need going into your future? And then keep adding 1 to 3% per quarter until you're consistently setting aside 10% for the short-term needs and 10% for medium-term savings. Build those liquid reserves, maybe even before maxing out the 401k. Now, our grandparents, if you go back and you interview, and we know people that did this, the greatest generation, the silent generation, when they were, in their 50s, 60s, right? Now they're in their 80s, 90s, but if you go back to them, they did this. They saved 10% for short term. They saved 10% of their income for medium term. And then they set aside 10% for retirement. And they didn't set it aside in 401ks. They didn't even exist back then. But think about that. Like, they lived well because they had liquid available money to use when and how they needed to for things like roof repairs, buy that next car. They never had to depend on banks to loan them the money to do those things. Even cutting that out of your life can dramatically impact your ability to build wealth. I'm not going to say get rich anymore. Now, high yield savings accounts are starting to be more and more popular. Thank goodness they're back. Those didn't exist for a while. But all along the time, there's been a thing that we call now properly designed bank on yourself type policies. That's where that 10% short-term, medium-term, even some of the 10% long-term savings went. And that one of the things I love about it is it keeps your money working for you, building that wealth even while you use it to do that roof repair or buy that car or put prices on the kids or pay off the student debt like we did or whatever. So keep that in mind. Where you save matters, but start saving, and even at 1% can make a big difference. Okay, so we got H, which was have a why. E, easy habit building, starting with 1%. Now for N, nurture your passions below your means. This is something I love about Stoic mysticism philosophy, that they lived simply, but that doesn't mean they weren't happy, they weren't content, they weren't joyful. It's actually partly because they were living simply that they had more fulfillment in life. So think about, what are you passionate about? Like truly passionate about? It could be friends or family, right? People. We're often passionate about the people we love. It could be books or movies or some other kind of cultural and influence. Could even be beer or golf. I don't know. I'm not here to judge your passions. I'm trying to help you identify them. I dare you, double dog dare you, to come up with a passion that you would have to have a lot of money to do and couldn't do if you had zero to little dollars. So for example, travel. You think you got to have money to travel, right? Yet in most major cities, you can get a taste of the world at an ethnic restaurant or participate in a cultural experience like a celebration or a concert. Even reading a novel that takes place in a place you'd like to travel to can transport you to an amazing place in your imagination. And there are these beautiful places called libraries with shelves and shelves of books to explore. Some even take you to places that you can't get to on an airplane. I'm a huge fan of historical fiction. I can't go to that time in history, but on an airplane, but I can in a book. And I get to time travel that way. And that's something I get really passionate about. So what would it look like for you to take something you're passionate about and figure out how to do it in a fulfilling way, but with less than what you spend right now? I'm not saying you got to stop spending there. Just think, how can I still get joy from this thing, but spend less money on it? And then have fun with that. Keep cultivating the passions that are below your means. Okay? So that's N, nurture your passions below your means. And then R, reach out and build your money team. If you've wandered off from listening, come back right now. This is probably the most important. Who do you go to for financial advice? Is it Lord Google? Is it podcasts, right? Hope maybe it's YouTube videos. Is there someone who actually profits off keeping you in funds that are not very accessible for your future? Do they support your why? Do they know what your passions are? Are they encouraging you to build easy habits? Do you have more than one person? How would you like a community? I'm going to share more about how you can build your money team here in a minute, but first I got to talk about the why in Henry. The why is you stay in control. Now, I'm not talking about staying away from doom spending. um, sure, control yourself. If you can steer clear of the mall or off the Amazon app when you're super emotional or had a really bad day at work, that's a fantastic idea. Not saying that though. What I mean by you stay in control is having a high degree of certainty that you know what your money will be when you need it. You know how much it's going to be, where it's going to be, how you can access it, what it looks like. Too many Henrys are keeping their funds for expenses like a down payment for their first home or for the funds to buy their next car in the stock market, usually in index funds or ETFs. And it's appealing when we've been in the longest and largest stock market increase in history. I get it. It's very tempting, especially, when interest rates are so low and all those kind of things. But we all know what goes up must come down. And we hope you'll agree. You don't want to have to sell low because your kid needs braces or the house that you've had your eye on finally comes on the market. You have no control over when the market will go up or down. I'm sorry, none of us do. Even the, GameStop people on Reddit, they don't really have control. They learned that pretty quick, right? Back then. Now, we're not saying put everything in low-risk financial products like bank on yourself type policies, but we do think it's worth considering carefully how much you're putting at risk that you can't afford to lose. How much are you putting at risk that you can't afford to lose? And that's why I think I need to talk more and we need to celebrate more you staying in control. So that's why I put that in there. Why? Then and Henry, you stay in control. Now, this might sound really too simple. That's I think a good thing. Part of what keeps people in the dark and unable to make progress is when those who want to make money off of them make it way too complicated that you couldn't do it without them and paying them, whether it's some kind of fee, like a flat fee or commission or, that kind of thing. But to be honest, building wealth isn't that complicated. It's quite simple, but that doesn't make it easy. That's why we mentioned building a money team. I told you I was going to come back to it. Now, let's talk about what the job is of your money team. It isn't to tell you what to do. If you want somebody to tell you what to do, there's plenty of people out there that will do that, and they'll probably make a lot of money telling you what to do. If you want to go that way, more power to you. What I believe works the best, and what's worked best for me, is to build a money team that supports me, gives me ideas that I wouldn't think of. Maybe sometimes when I venture off track, they speak the truth to me and help me get back on track. But it's only because they know what on track means for me and how to love me back toward it rather than enable me towards something that's not right for me. Now, you may or may not be the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, as Jim Rohn says. That could be something to think about when you're building your money team. Who do you want to be like, and surround yourself with those people. But you absolutely should realize the human tendency to be subject to peer pressure and to also know what we have exposure to. So that's why I recommend having a money team that you've clearly communicated. I want you to empower me and encourage me, not make decisions for me. And also, I want a money team of people who have different opinions, different ideas that are going to share them with me and empower me to call the shots, having that myriad of options. So let's recap. H, have a why. E, easy habit building. N, nurture your passions below your means. R, reach out and build your money team wisely. And Y, you stay in control. Where might you be able to do all these things? Well, you're in luck. In the Wealth Wisdom financial community, this is exactly what we're trying to do. And we also made this book right over here, 5 Smooth Stones. What we're announcing today for the very first time on our podcast is that we now have a digital sample of 5 Smooth Stones available for you. We're going to put a link in the show notes. You can get 30 pages of the book for free. Check it out, see how it helps you. And of course, if you want to buy it, you can. And then also in the Wealth Wisdom Financial community, we have the ability now to start a 1-month free trial. You get all access to everything except for some of our classes that we have in there. But otherwise, you can try it out, see what you think, see how it helps you to get to know your why, build some easy habits, nurture your passions below your means, build your money team, and stay in control. So visit those links in the show notes. Not selling anything, right? Giving you some encouragement, some things to try out to see if they help you. The first one is a digital sample of 30 pages from 5 Smooth Stones. And the second is a 1-month free trial of the Wealth Wisdom Financial community. Go do those right now. I'm just going to wrap up here. Thanks for joining us. Hit that subscribe button too so you don't miss an episode, and live long and profit. The topics presented in this podcast are for general information only and not for the purposes of providing legal, accounting, or investment advice. On such matters, please consult a professional who knows your specific situation.